And I wonder when I see this HTC Vive, I'm like, what is that thing going to be 10 years from now when we're making fun of what it is now? What is it? How ingrained and how connected and interconnected is this technology going to be in our life?
It will be, at some point, indistinguishable from reality.
Where we'll lose this. We'll lose this. Like you and I are just looking at each other through our eyes. I see you, you see me. I hope.
You think so?
I think you probably have regular eyes.
This could be some simulation.
It could. Do you entertain that?
Well, the argument for the simulation, I think, is quite strong. Because if you assume any improvement at all over time, any improvement, 1%, 0.1%, just extend the time frame, make it 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. What would civilization, if you counted, if you're very generous, civilization is maybe 7,000 or 8,000 years old, if you count it from the first writing. This is nothing. This is nothing. So if you assume any rate of improvement at all, then games will be indistinguishable from reality. Or civilization will end. One of those two things will occur. Therefore,
Ultimately.
we are most likely in a simulation.
Or we're on our way
exist.
to one, right? Well, but just because we exist, we could most certainly be on the road. We could be on the road to that, right? It doesn't mean that it has to have already happened.
We could be in base reality. We could be in base reality.
We could be here now on our way to the road or on our way to the destination where this can never happen again, where we are completely ingrained in some sort of an artificial technology or some sort of a symbiotic relationship with the internet or the next level of sharing information. But right now we're not there yet. That's possible too, right? It's possible that a simulation is one day going to be inevitable, that we're going to have something that's indistinguishable from regular reality. But maybe we're not there yet. That's also possible. That we're not quite there yet. That this is real. When I touch that
it feels
wood,
very real.
Maybe that's why everybody's like into like mason jars and shit.
Mason jars.
Suede shoes. People are into like craft restaurants and they want raw wood. Everyone wants to see metal. It seems like people are like longing towards some weird log cabin type nostalgia.
Sure, reality.
Yeah, like holding on, like clinging. Just
sure. Anyway, I don't want to sound like things are too dark because I think like you kind of have to be optimistic about the future. There's no point in being pessimistic. It's just too negative.
It doesn't help.
It doesn't help. You know, I think you want to be. I mean, my theory is like you'd rather be optimistic. I think I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right.
Right.
At least err on that side.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you're pessimistic, you're just going to be miserable.
Are you a proponent of the multi-universes theory? Do you believe that there are many, many universes and that even if this one fades out, that there's other ones that are starting fresh right now and there's an infinite number of them and they're just constantly in this never-ending cycle of birth and death?
I think most likely, this is just about probability, there are many, many simulations. These simulations are, you might as well call them reality, or you could call them multiverse.
These simulations you believe are created? Like someone has manufactured?
They're running on a substrate.
So...
that substrate is probably boring.
Boring?
Mm-hmm.
How so?
Well, when we create a simulation, like a game or a movie, it's a distillation of what's interesting about life. You know, like it can take a year to shoot an action movie. And then that's all distilled down into 2 or 3 hours. So let me tell you, if you see an action movie being filmed, it's boring. Super boring. There's like lots of takes. Everything's in a green screen. Looks pretty goofy. Doesn't look cool. But once you add the CGI and have great editing, it's amazing. So I think most likely, if we're a simulation, it's really boring outside the simulation. Because why would you make a simulation that's boring? You'd make the simulation way more interesting than base reality.
That is if this right now is a simulation.
Yes.
And ultimately, inevitably, as long as we don't die or get hit by a meteor, we're going to create some sort of simulation if we continue on the same technological path we're on right now.
Yes.
But we might not be there yet. So it might not be a simulation here. But it most likely is, you feel, other places.
This notion of place or where is a
flawed.
Yes.
Flawed
like
perception.
Where, like
right.
that, if you have this sort of Vive, you know, which that's made by Valve and Steam and it's really Valve that made it. HTC did the hardware, but it's really a Valve thing.
Makers of Half-Life.
Yes. Valve, great company.
Great company.
When you're in that virtual reality, which is only going to get better, where are you? Where are you really?
Right.
You aren't anywhere.
Well, whereas
you're in the computer.
What defines where you are?
Exactly.
Right.
It's your perception.
Is it your perceptions, or is it a scale that we have under your butt? You're right here. I've measured you. You're the same weight as you were when you left. But meanwhile, your experience is
why do you think
different.
you're where you are right now? You might not be.
I'll spark up a joint if you keep talking. Your manager's going to come in here. We might have to lock the door.
Right now, you think you're in a studio in LA.
That's what I heard.
You might be in a computer.
Oh, listen, man. I think about this all the time. Yeah, I mean, it's unquestionable that one day that'll be the case, as long as we keep going, as long as nothing interrupts us, and if we start from scratch, and we're single-celled organisms all over again, and then millions and millions of years later we become the next thing that is us, with creativity and the ability to change its environment. It's going to keep monkeying with things until it figures out a way to change reality, to almost like punch a hole through what is this thing into what it wants it to be, and create new things. And then those new things will intersect with other people's new things, and then it'll be this ultimate pathway of infinite ideas and expression, all through technology.
Yeah.
And then we're going to wonder, like, why are we here? What are we doing?
Let's find out.
Well,
I mean, I think we should take the set of actions that are most likely to make the future better.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then reevaluate those actions to make sure that it's true.